All right, everybody. Welcome back to another Freestyle Game Dev live stream. My name is Kevin. We do this twice a week. It's Sunday nights and Wednesday mornings. Pacific Standard Time, 10:15 on Sundays. That's at night, and 8 a.m. Wednesday mornings for right now. But as always, double check the schedule. But so far, we've been on track. Like I said, my name's Kevin. This works like a Q&A, AMA. Come in and hop questions. Come in and ask questions. I basically hang out and we just basically try to stumble through any questions you may have about Unreal game development, visual scripting, all those kinds of things, as well as for anybody who's going through our visual scripting crash course for creatives. Feel free to hop in and ask kind of any Python scripting questions that you may have as we kind of get that off and going. I am a tech artist currently in R&D at Riot Games. I get a chance to do a lot of really cool stuff at work, but there's a lot of cool stuff. I don't get to do at work. And so this is a chance for a bunch of different things. It's a chance for us to build a community of people who just hang out and help each other answer questions and do cool stuff. It's also a really good chance for me to stumble through and learn a whole bunch of new things that I probably wouldn't have learned otherwise. Westons, that is great to hear. I was going to ask if we actually clicked the button to go live this time. Cameras are still a little bit jacked up. I'm hoping some new hardware will arrive this week, and hopefully we will be back on track for video production. We have a couple variable addendums coming out, as well as the next installment of our visual scripting class, and hopefully finalizing some changes to splitting off the channel for this to be more focused entirely on game dev and virtual production. With that, let's hop straight into Unreal so that we have that. And Weston's is helping us out. How you doing tonight? With our first question, and I just want to get some clarity on that. So let me just bring up the Twitch crew as well to make sure that we don't have it. All right, so until I get combined chat, for those of you on Twitch, can we talk a little about promoting a node to a variable and also talk about converting a node to a validated get? High level summary would be helpful and maybe a general example. Okay. Converting a node to a variable. I wanna understand specifically what we're doing there, and understand the nomenclature of that. So let me give you an example. This blueprint is really messy. I have not cleaned it up because I'm in the middle of doing stuff. But one of the things that we're doing in here is we're checking to see if the dot product of something is less than 0.6, for example. When you say convert a node to a variable, are you asking how I convert this pin to a variable so that I could change the angle that I'm looking at? Or is there some other node that you're trying to convert to a variable, like the character or the controller or something like that? Because a good example of that would actually be in our sword combo. So in our sword combo, I'm pretty sure one of the very first things that we do when we come in, other than printing, is the furthest right. Okay, cool. So, I mean, it doesn't really have to be the furthest right pin. It can kind of be in any pin. But for example, I'm trying to think of what's a good way to do this from scratch for you. Okay, let's just start high level. First off, you can promote almost anything you want to a variable. We know this. And whether it's the input pin or the output pin, it kind of just depends on where it is in the setup. As far as about converting a node to a validated get. Okay, cool. So, for example, whether you choose like for example, this outgoing pin here, this get controller for actor info, a good example of this would be, let's say that I don't want to use this everywhere. Let's say I have like 10 of these all pasted all around and I don't want to do that. one thing that I could do is I could create a new variable from this called controller. And in this case, I'm going to name it. Now, the fastest thing to do, there's two ways to do this. Okay, one is I could define a new variable called my controller, and I can type it all out and everything like that, and I can set the variable type to be correct, etc. Or even better, if I just simply right click on this pen and I choose promote to variable, it will automatically set the type for me. It will automatically start to name it for me, and I can do this as my tutorial controller. Okay, and then I can set this, I can just drop this in line. And doing this is not going to hurt my combo ability at all, other than the fact that I accidentally disconnected this one. Now, there's a couple different options here when I do this. Technically speaking, both my tutorial controller and character controller are going to be the same value. There's two different variables, but they have the same information in them. There's nothing wrong with doing that. I just don't want you to get confused by it. It's just what we're doing as far as the tutorial goes. Now, even though these are two different variables, there's two different ways I can set this second one. I can either do the exact same thing and get the info from the actor, or I can pull straight off this pen and I can use that instead, so I don't even need this anymore. Or I can also now get the value of my tutorial controller. Now, if I feed this into here, technically what happens is I'm coming into the ability, I'm setting my tutorial controller, I'm printing a string, and then with my tutorial controller, I'm getting the value of that. I'm setting character controller, okay, which is the same thing. And then from the character controller, I'm committing my ability, and then I'm trying to cast it to a shooter mannequin. Now, so there's a bunch of different ways in how you set this up. Big picture wise, a simple right click, promote to variable, set it as you want. Usually if you do that with something that you're going to be using throughout your script, so you don't have to keep doing it. Now, as far as validating it, there's a couple of different ways to validate whether this is good. So imagine we set my tutorial controller, and maybe we're doing a bunch of other things or some state change or whatever, and fast forward somewhere in our blueprint, and all of a sudden we get my tutorial controller. How do we know it's valid? Hopefully, well, generally speaking, if you're within your own blueprint, you might think you know it's valid, but let me give you an example. What happens if the character dies right in the middle of the execution of your blueprint? It's kind of hard to do on a tick, but you may have something like maybe somewhere in the execution of tick, it died before or after or whatever. So how do you check to make sure that my tutorial controller is valid? There's generally two different ways. You can just say is valid. Now you'll notice that there's two different types of valid here. One is a pure and one is the is valid. I generally use the second one. And the reason I do that, you could technically do both. All right, so these are two different ways of checking to see that my tutorial controller is valid. Now, what do we mean by valid on a variable? In this particular case, when you look at variables, you can have integers and strings and decimals and all those kinds of things, right? Generally speaking, 1.5 is always valid. You don't have to worry about that being valid. But a character controller or an AI controller, like I said, if they died, they may no longer be there. And so if you go to try to get how much health they have and the controller doesn't exist, that's not going to work and you're going to get an error. So that would be why you would want to check if it's valid or not. Okay. Now, two different ways, like I mentioned, in all effectiveness, these would kind of do the same thing, but one is a shortcut. If you already have a Boolean defined, you could do a branch here. If it's valid, if valid is true, then keep going. That's one way to do it. I generally feel like this is done more in like anim blueprints and things like that, where they have Boolean pins to control a blend, for example. Generally speaking, and I'm happy to hear otherwise. So if somebody is a software engineering Unreal Engine guru and prefers the pure method over this one, I like this because it has the if built in. So what happens is it checks to see if it's valid, and if it is valid, it keeps going. And if it's not, then I could return, like I could end the ability, for example. In this case, because I'm in an ability, I would end my ability so that I would kind of get to a proper state. So, Westons, does that help with your question? All right, I am going to clean this up a little bit though. To go back to sort of what I had. No worries. Okay, so we're just gonna clean this up and then take a look at some stuff. Okay, cool. This is super messy. So here's a great example. I have, oh wow, okay. So what happened was, okay, I guess now's a good time. If there aren't any other specific questions, there's a good time for some quick updates since last time. If you recall, last time we were working on getting our character to dash between abilities. I am happy to say we made some progress on that. So what do I mean by that? If I attack, I can left out and I can continue the next combo, left in, and continue the last bit of the combo. If I am holding the tricky part of that is if I'm holding down WASD and I go to attack, you'll notice she stops and attacks, which is awesome. Before she didn't. So if you're a super tense player and you're one of those people that smashes that W key charging forward because you're a charger, when you go to hit this combo, it's going to stop you dead and you're going to do your combo and you're going to have to let off the keyboard to break out, which I think is reasonable. So if we go like this, then I can break out. Now what I want to do next is, for the most part, this is cool because I can attack, move, attack, move, attack, move. It already feels way better. But what I want to do to make this, I guess, put the final piece on what I think is good enough for melee combat for getting to our first working prototype, I think it would be cool to put an evade in between each of these, where if you hit it at just the right time, when you attack and you press the evade, she like dashes left or dashes right. I think it's gonna help melee combat feel really good. So that's kind of where I want to go next. But overall, this is working. It took me forever to get a bunch of stuff, and that's why I'm still in a state. I haven't even cleaned it up. I just kind of have just finished getting all of this stuff working. So we have a little bit of cleanup to do. And one of the things that I want to look for is what we might be able to use for our evade animations. So what we may do tonight is I may show you all how to steal animation. Steal animation from a different project and bring it into this project. So we'll do just a little bit of cleanup here first. But this is a great example. I've got like 3 lines all going out of here. I really don't like that. It just doesn't, it's not clean, it's hard to follow. So let's just kill this. We got to get rid of all of our prints. We have a bunch of work to do here. That just looks cleaner already. Okay, so then this is going to come into this nightmare mess. Another quick tip, Westons, if you drag character controller onto the pin, it'll auto connect it for you, which is nice. Okay, this is going to end our ability, and then this is finding our event. Okay, and I think we can get rid of all of this, because this is our bound event now. This is not being used. Well, this piece of it is not being used. The pawn is, and the event is. All right. And then we have our wait gameplay, and then all this stuff is the same. And what is this? Max. Oh, that was, I had an idea that what we would do is rather than trying to get it. So what was hard about getting the ability so that you could interrupt in the middle of it? I think holding Control or Alt while dragging. Yes, actually, I can show you what that does. So, actually, those are two of my favorite hotkeys, and those are specific. So let me give you an example of this. Let's say we had. I'm just going to duplicate this node. Let's say we had 4 nodes connected into here, and I'm going to do something here. I'm going to drag this one way off here. So I'm in my blueprint, I'm editing along, and I realize, oh, you know what? I need to set this first, okay? Well, what I want to do is I want to connect all 4 of these at the same time to this pen. Normally, you would have to come back here and drag each one up. It's a horrible pain, and the worst part of it is you have to find where these 2 come from. So you're gonna have to scroll all the way back in your blueprint, find the mess of wherever it came from. Nope, no you don't. If you hold Control, left click, you'll see it turns into a hand, and then you can move all 4 at once, and you can just plug them straight in. So Control drag will let you shift pins to a different item, which is really cool. And Alt will disconnect. So if I wanna disconnect this object, I can Alt click it, and it will just disconnect the pen. So if, for example, I had one here, let me show you what happens. If I have this connected and I Control drag this in, now it's all kind of like connected in. So a lot of times what I'll do first is I'll Alt hit this one first and then Control drag this one over to make it smooth. Okay, but all of this is bogus. I don't need it. We're gonna end our ability. Oh, that looks great. Okay, cool. We don't need this. This is our custom event. What an awful name. Oh, we got some prints in here we don't need anymore. And get rid of this print string. Get rid of this print string. Okay, so that's pretty clean. Ah, okay. I'm gonna keep this here. Oh, I remember what I was trying to explain. I was explaining that, okay, what was hard? Okay, first off, getting it so that you could, think for a second. When you were holding WASD, setting it so that it understood that it was in a state of attacking, and being able to get it so that when you were holding down your WASD key, that it would understand in order to start the evade, you had to let go and then press it again. And getting it to tick that so that it worked properly, that was the hard part of it. That was the hard part of figuring out all this button magic. We're gonna get rid of all of these print strings as well. We don't need these anymore. So that's all good. And then let's just move all of this over so that all of our events start in the same spot. So they're all fairly nicely aligned left, and I don't have to hunt for them. Okay, cool. So let's compile. Oh, we probably do not have perforce up. We do not. Okay, so let's compile that. Compiles and saves. It's great. Let's do a quick test just to double check that we didn't break anything. We still have a bunch of prints going on. That's gotta be in the shooter mannequin. Yes, this is this nightmare thing that I created. Holy smokes. So this is the input action that I connected up for triggering all this fun stuff. Obviously there's a bunch of stuff we don't need. I actually believe that the chugging that we're seeing is actually a result of the fact that this computer can't handle the stream and 2 Unreals at the same time. Hold on, did I accidentally delete that? I didn't want to. I did want to delete that. Okay, cool. So we'll just clean this up, and then we should be pretty good. Insert a reroute node just to make this pretty to look at. It looks like none of this is being used now, which is cool. Okay, compile and save. See what that looks like. Okay, we got rid of the prints. That's cool. So if I'm holding and I attack, actually I broke something. Wait, did I? No, I didn't. I think I'm just getting really bad performance because of the stream and 2 Unreals at the same time. So it looks like we are good to go. Now, what I thought might be fun tonight, we're like I said, we're getting close. I'm feeling pretty good about melee combat now. What I thought might be fun is seeing if we could steal some cool animation for evade. What do I mean by that? What I mean is, how do we get animation from a different project into our project? And this is, if you're not familiar with it, this is the ALS project. Is our stream running on Twitch? It is, okay. Looks like we're running on both. Good. Okay, so this is the ALS project. If you're not familiar with it, there's a lot of really cool stuff in here. But I actually really like the way this character moves. It's got some cool camera moves in it. But one of the things that I thought would be cool to see is if they had any cool animations we could steal. So we got WASD, and we got our camera. Jump is jump. Crouch is left alt. That's great. Roll is 2 times left alt. Okay, that's one we could potentially take for an evade. And also, I'd love to look at how they're connecting up 2 times left alt. Okay, rotation mode, switch shoulder cams for ragdoll, and change mesh. I thought that there was a weapon mode on this thing. I also like the way the sprint feels in this better too. Potential improvements, that's not what I'm looking for. AI examples, that's fine. Okay, cool. So anyways, we know that the roll is one that we could take. So let's take a look at this. So let's find the roll. So here's our roll animation. If we go look at this, it's pretty good. How do we steal this and get just this animation into our project? I also want to see if there's anything else in here. I wonder if they have a parry. Nope. Nope. Okay, so we'll just stick with the roll so we don't get too lost in this. It's mostly about showing you all how this would potentially work. Okay, so generally speaking, what you would do is you would just migrate this. That would be easy. If you just right click on this, you can choose where is it? Re-import, create. Where's the migrate button? Migrate. Asset actions migrate. That would be normally what you would do, but we can't do that straight. The reason we can't do that straight is these were animated on the old UE4 mannequin. So we need to do a quick retarget. So in order to do that, what I want to do is I want to import I need to import the third person shooter. So if we add a feature or content pack to this and we choose the third person one, what this is going to do is it's going to add the third person project to this. And then with that, I should get all of the IK retargeting stuff by default. So let's just take a look and see if we got that. And we can test by going to browse to here, and we can roll F, 1 meter high. Okay, let's right click on this, retarget animation assets, duplicate and retarget. And the IK retargeted we're looking for, here we go. So because these weren't created as part of the original ALS project, we can use this IK retargeting system to retarget this to the new Manny. And then when we do that, we can save it. Then when we save that animation, we can migrate just that animation so we don't have to do anything too messy. So if we choose that, now you'll see that we have our SK mannequin and then our Manny simple skeleton. And we are going to put this in, how do they name things in Lyra? No, that's not, oh, this is, so in Lyra, let's take a look at, probably the closest thing is going to be dash. And the dash anim, oh, it looks like there's a great sword dash attack. That's cool to know. Dash forward. Dash left, dash right. And these are, I don't know why they call them MM. Mannequin mesh? Wow, that's kind of a weird name for this asset. But anyways, if we go to this and we browse to it, these are all under actions. So we would probably put it in here and we would name it similarly. Even though I personally am not a fan of this particular name. I would love to talk to whoever came up with it to try to wrap my head around it. I think there's two reasons I'm going to choose a different name. I'm going to choose anim instead. I'm going to prefix it with the word A and M. So we'll go with, we can put it in game for now. And then rename assets, we'll do anim underbar. And it's going to be, so it's going to end up as anim underbar, ALS, etc. And it's going to be ending in the, it's going to be just straight in the game folder, which is really the content directory. So we'll just do this retarget. And you can see here, if we open this up, now it's playing nicely on our Manny character. Have a great night, Westons. Thanks for hopping in. I appreciate it. Okay, so basically, now we have this playing on our Manny character just the way we want. If we browse to that, I'm actually going to rename this to something that is more like Lyra. So they have a dash right, dash left. I'm just going to rename this to be anim, and I'm going to call this, and then the reason I'm going to keep anim is because then I'll know which ones I pulled in that were not part of the default Lyra anims. And I'm going to call this, we're going to call this roll F. And you know what? I do want to put the character on there, Manny. And the reason I want that is because when I'm looking for a list in a list of animations, it's nice to have the character name in there. And roll F. I think that's good. We'll just go with that for now. Okay, so now all I need to do is I need to migrate this. So if we go to edit, asset, actions, and migrate, I should be able to oh, I guess I have to save it. Okay. Holy smokes, it gives me a whole lot of stuff I don't need. All right, so what I'd like to do, I believe this is the asset I need. I think I can shift click this. Yeah. All right, so quick shortcut, rather than unclicking all of these, if you shift click anything, it will either click everything below or unclick everything below. So in this case, I don't need any characters, and same thing for all this locomotion stuff. I don't need any of that. I'm going to shift click that. And then I'm going to choose OK. And then I am going to save this straight into this folder. So if I go to properties on this, copy file path, I'm just going to paste this up here. Okay. And let's select that folder. Migrated content only work if placed in a content. So wait, that wasn't a content folder? That isn't a content folder. It's right under content. Select folder. Heroes Mannequin does not appear to be game content folder. Okay, fine. Let's do this. Let's just go straight into the content folder. Select that folder. Okay, fine. It put that in there. Now we're gonna close this and I'm not gonna save anything. And then theoretically, if we go to content, you can see now we have this Manny role F. I'm actually gonna move this to where it's supposed to be, which should be in the dash. Let's go here. Dash. I believe it was the actions folder. It's right here. This should be it. Yeah, let's just call that. All right, so from content, let's take that thing. We'll get rid of our search and we'll move this role into the actions folder. Move here. So now when we go in our actions folder, we should see our new roll forward. And if we double click on it, could not find the skeleton. So this is normal. It can't find the skeleton, so we need to choose a new one. And in this case, we're going to choose the Manny skeleton because I believe that is what everything is based off of. Manny. SK Mannequin. I think this is the one I want. Okay. Okay, so it's rolling. Pretty cool. So now we have this new roll animation in our project. So let's do a couple things. Retarget source is defaulted. All this stuff looks good. Let's see if we can see this actually playing on our character. So if we take a look, so if that's true, if we can see this, I think M-Man should be able to play it. So if we take a look at the M-Man skeletal mesh, and we look at our preview scene, we change this to a specific animation. I should be able to choose roll here. Look at that. So our character can now roll. Pretty sweet. Pretty sweet. Okay. That was great. Okay, so this is very slow. We're gonna definitely be speeding that up for our evade. But I'm also not convinced that a roll is the best thing for an evade. But we can try it just to see what it looks like. Okay, so now what are we gonna do? Now we're gonna create a new ability for our evade. And the easiest thing to do is going to be to duplicate one of our existing ones. And the dash is the way to go because it's basically the same thing. It's like the exact same thing. If we browse to this game dash, let's duplicate this and make an evade. I don't think we have one. So let's duplicate. Where did you go? I guess I can't duplicate the whole folder. Bummer. So let's make a new folder then. Evade. And I believe we're going to be changing this animation. So if we take the dash and we only really need, because we're not going to be doing cooldowns or anything like that. So let's just drop this in the evade and I'm just going to copy it here. And then in here, we're going to rename this to evade, hero evade. And we're gonna have to make another update too. So if we open this up, there's a lot of stuff in here we don't need. There's all kinds of directional stuff that we are gonna want for evade based on which velocity, but we don't really have that yet. So we're just gonna fill in the same blueprint for all of it for now. And I think, is there anything else that we need to do? Yeah, I don't think we need to select a directional montage. Target is GA hero evade. Select a directional montage comes in. Montage to pick. Dash forward montage, dash backward. Okay, so these are all of the montages. So I'm gonna keep these, but let's do some renaming here. Evade. Make sure we're in the right ability. Yes. Okay, we'll evade this. You know, it's worth mentioning here that rather than renaming all of these to evade instead of devade, maybe what we actually want to do is just call this directional forward montage, etc. So that when I duplicate this ability again, I don't have to rename it to the same thing. You know what? That's what we're going to do. Let's just do... Actually, let's not even put that. Let's just call it forward montage, backward montage, left montage, and right montage. And the reason we're going to do that is because when we duplicate evade, which we're going to do it again at some point, because it's what we do. We duplicate everything. It's easier that way. Why reinvent the wheel? When we duplicate this, I'm not going to have to rename all these assets each time. And this group... Oh. So there's a category here called dash. Interesting. The naming they're using is, these are ability, this is ability grouping. There's the ability HUD stuff, the Lyra stuff, and this is, let's see, what can we think of as a group name for this? We got strength, root motion, ability duration, montages, ability info, generic, ability specific. I guess we could call it general for now. General. I don't like that name, but I think it's better than having dash in all of our abilities that aren't dashes. General. So let's do this for each of these. General. 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 This way that it makes it more generic. I don't have to redo this every single time I copy this. Okay, so these are now all good. So they're all sitting under general, which is fine. It's a weird name, but as I use this more, I'll figure out what I want this to be. And we are going to need a montage. So let's go find our role and let's make a montage out of this. Create an anim montage and anim montage manual role. And I'm actually going to put this. Do we want this here? Are there other montages in this folder? Yes, there is. Okay, so let's save this here. And then this is going to be our montage for all of this stuff. Interesting. Okay, so rather than dash forward, it's going to be roll forward. And it's going to be roll F for all of them for right now, and that's fine. Okay, and then in the event graph, let's just double check what happens in this. When we activate, we're going to get the direction. If we have a non-zero dash, we're going to commit the ability. It's fair. Then we're going to exit crouch if we're crouch. If we're allowed to do it, we're going to do a thing. And then we're going to send the info. We're going to play montage and wait. Cool. That's all great. These values apply root motion. Cool. We're going to have to work with this in a little bit. And on the server, apply gameplay queue with appropriate values. I think we're going to have a different queue. Delay, indivisibility of action, and dash duration message. Okay. I don't think we need this. I don't think we need this because we're not going to put any limiters on this one. Like, I'm going to just disconnect it and leave it here because there might be another ability that we build that needs that. And then we do need to update the tag though for this. So in our class defaults, we have all of our roles. This ability type action, we need to add one for evade. So down here where we have dash, we need to add one for evade. And we can get rid of dash. And then activation own tag, same thing. Movement, evade. Okay. And then we are not going to put any cooldown on this. So right now this has a gameplay effect that controls the cooldowns. That's the way the ability works. So we'll kill that. And this currently has a trigger that is connected to input tag ability dash. Now, we're going to need to make, well, we have a choice. We could try to skip straight to the end game and connect it up inside of our, we could try to skip to, oh man, that would be, we could try to skip straight to the end game and try to connect it up inside of our sword combo. Or we could go step by step. And we could create a new hotkey. We could connect to the hotkey, see if it even works. Or we could steal a hotkey that already exists just to test it quickly. Let's try that one. And that one that I want to use is parry. Let's take a look at parry, which I believe is P-A-R-R. So if we look at our gameplay ability for parry, it is currently connected to ability weapon parry. So if we just get rid of this, and then we put on that on our evade instead, ability weapon parry. Let's see if this works. Oh, this is gonna be wild. And I believe parry was our F key. It's not activating. Oh, that's because the ability tags. Oh yeah, we would have to redo a lot of stuff. I don't think we want to do that. Let's undo that. Okay, so in here we have our evade. What is it undoing right now? Like, shouldn't this add gameplay tags? No. What are you doing? Edit, redo, add gameplay tags. I want to redo that. Redo, remove gameplay tag. Okay. Edit, redo, add gameplay tags. Redo, remove gameplay tags. Dude. Okay, let's go back to where we were. We're gonna go all the way back because I don't know. Nothing to redo. Okay, so let's compile this. And let's change dash. Okay, so this is what it was. This was ability type action dash, I believe. And the parry was input tag ability parry. Input, that's ability type. Oh, that's interesting. Parry is different. It doesn't look like we followed quite the same standard. So let's just double check the dash here real quick. Dash. GA dash. GA dash. Hero dash, that's why I couldn't find it. This one is set to ability input action and event movement dash. Ability input action, event movement, and then down here we have input tag ability dash. And here we have input. Wait, that's under ability triggers. Input tag ability dash. Yeah, that's messed up. So input, not type. Event. Input tag ability dash. So this is what it was originally. Okay. I wonder what happens if we try to play with that and we hit dash. Does it trigger both? No. No, it does not. Okay. So we're gonna make a new hotkey. We're gonna make a new hotkey because I want to test that it works. So to do that, we're going to add a new input tag ability. And we're gonna call it input tag, and maybe we won't end up using evade inside of our things anyways, so that's fine. Ability, let's do evade. Okay, cool. And then we're going to need to set this up. Easiest thing is find the references, and let's edit this one. So this is our input ability dash. Let's duplicate this. And this is going to be our input ability evade. So that's evade. And we don't have an input action yet. So we're going to need one. So let's duplicate that. And this is going to be evade. And then we can go back and we can set this to be evade. So here's our evade, and we need to pick our hotkey for it, which we don't do here. We actually do somewhere else. It's going to be in our keyboard mouse bindings. So let's take a look at a reference here on this one. And let's do our default here. We'll edit these. So there's auto run, jump crouch, ability dash. So we need to add one. So I'm going to shift click mappings just to collapse it. So that collapses it all, makes it easier for me to look at. It does not appear as though I can duplicate that. So let's just add one. This is going to be evade, and the trigger. We just need a temporary key. Spacebar is already used. F we already used. R is too much like an ultimate. Watched a tutorial somebody did on this. I think they used the V key. I wonder what tutorial that was. It was a while ago. If I remember who did that tutorial, or if anybody knows, I want to give credit where credit's due. Somebody did a very similar thing where they were doing rolls, and I know it just triggered it because they used the V key, but it was a very, very similar setup. Good morning, STEM Labs. Welcome to the stream. How you doing? All right, so we got our evade key now, but we do need to give ourselves the ability to do this ability. So to do that, let's go back to our hero dash, reference view this guy, make sure we're doing all the right stuff. We'll check our ability set, and in here you'll notice that if we open our granted abilities, one of them should be hero dash. This is hero dash. Let's duplicate this and let's change this to be hero evade, and the input tag is going to be evade, and then that's cool. And then let's double check this one because I want to know why this one is also coming up in our reference viewer. This looks like a duplicate. Oh, I shouldn't have to do this. Okay, but let's test it and see. I should not have to do this because this one is the hero shooter hero ability set, and we did that's for the HWZ, which is Horde Wars, which is a horrible working title for this game, but we'll get there. So now let's just see if we can even use our new ability. What are you working on today, STEM Labs? Did you have any questions for us? Okay, it tried to do something. I heard it play a sound, but it's not actually playing the animation. So we're gonna have to do some debugging here. So first things first, are we rolling? Print string. So let's do an evade here. Okay, so if we move forward, okay, so it is evading. That's something. So we know we're getting that far. We're selecting a directional montage. Set the direction nearly 0, committing ability. Why would it cancel? It would cancel if the vector is nearly 0. Let's see if we're canceling. Are we canceling? So if we see a hello print, we are canceling. Nope, we're not canceling. Okay, so that's cool. That's the next step. So then we come in here, we branch, we uncrouch, we have authority. We send the info to the server. And then we're going to play the montage and wait. I want to know what montage it's playing. So let's get display name. Let's get the display name. Wait a second. Get name. Get object name. Sure. And let's print that. Did you have any questions today, STEM Labs? Okay. It's playing roll, supposedly. So that's cool. So all that's happening is root motion. Hold on a second. Let's do something here. Let's fill back in our dashes. The reason I want to do this is I'm wondering if we have a bad setting in our animation and the montage can't play it. So what we're going to do is we're going to connect in our dash animations to our evade montage. Oh, totally works. Okay, so what that means is something's messed up with our roll montage or maybe our roll animation. So let's go see what's going on with, oh, actually we did no work. We did no work. in our role montage. So here's our role montage. I know what we did. This is in the default slot. We need to change this slot to be the full body slot, I believe. So if we go back to our evade and we reset this back to be all roles, let's browse to that, go back to evade. By the way, if you are working with a single monitor, the biggest secret I found for single monitor workflows is Control Tab. The reason why I say that is because with what it does is it remembers it's a lot like a code editor interface where it remembers the last two things you're working on. So what I mean by that is if you look at the AM Manny Roll F, this is the montage I'm in. If I press Control Tab, it's going to bring up a window and it's going to go back to the playground. I'm going to press Control, while holding Control, keeping Control held, press Tab again, I'm going to go to Hero Evade. Now, what that means is every time I Control Tab now, it's going to bounce back and forth between Hero Evade and the roll. So I can Control Tab quickly back and forth between those two. If I'm on the roll montage or the gameplay ability, I want to go to the level. Now I'm going to go back and forth between the level and the gameplay ability. So Control Tab is one of my favorite things when you're working with single monitors, single monitor workflows, because I have a single monitor. Okay, so we've got our roll F, and the reason I do that, so why did I mention that? Because what happened was when I was in Manny roll F, I click browse and it goes straight to the content browser, and I can Control Tab back to where I was looking for. So in this case, we're going to put the roll in to all of these. And this is going to look really funky, but it's all stand-in, and that's okay. So let's compile and save this, and let's see if our roll plays now. Okay, it does. Look at that. It's playing. It's super weird. And it also does not move through space. Why not? So let's take a look at our roll F, and then let's look at dash forward as an example. Oh, interesting. They disable the leg IK. Oh, I know why. I think it's a root motion thing. Okay. So where is our roll? Our roll is right here. And our roll is using here. So we need to go back to our roll. So we're working on, well, again, the main reason we're here is to help people answer questions with stuff that they're working on. But if there are no questions, I'm working on my working prototype. I'm working towards a working prototype for my game. What does that even mean? Or what does that look like? Basically, what I want to do is I would like to get to the point. That's exactly what we're working on right now. I can show you in a second, STEMlabs. STEMlabs is asking if I figured out how to do the move attack. But basically what I'm working on is there are a lot of aspects of deploying a game that I have not personally done myself. So I think it would be really cool to be able to do some of those things to better relate to, engineers and build engineers and all kinds of different, disciplines at work, level design, everything. So my goal for this is to get a working prototype built, deployed with a full client running on servers so that we can all play test together, and then use that as a backbone for building all the creative aspects of the game that I would like to make. The moves tag, yes, and the move attack stuff works. I can show you, I think I can show you right now. I'm not in a broken state, but if I go forward and I attack, I can move out of it. And now it remembers which combo I was in. So I can basically move around and do all this. And what we're doing right now, and we couldn't do this before. And what we're doing right now is I thought it would be cool when you're in this move attack and you press the move, that it actually evaded for you. Like you got a cool little just quick speed hit. So you can, so I think you're gonna feel really powerful as you dash around your enemies. If you hit that evade window just right, I think that's gonna feel really good. So I believe what we were looking for here, roll F. What's our root motion setting? Enable root motion. What is the setting for dash? My guess is we are off. If we look at dash, root motion is off. Okay, so that answers that question. So let's go back to, oh my God, so much. Okay, to quickly describe, so STEM Labs, Antius, what's going on? STEM Labs is asking what I changed in order to get the ability to attack move. Okay, so first things first. The first thing that I changed was I made it so that when you attack, it basically sets a flag. And the flag is attack started. Then what I did is I said, if there's any movement on the character and that flag is set, then what we're trying to do is we're trying to move out of a combo attack. And so, but then I ran into a problem, and here's the problem I ran into. Why did I have to do it that way? If you are a charger, and I was telling this to Westons earlier, so apologies for repeating this if you're rewatching the stream, but if you're like me when I play, I do not let go of the W. If we're playing a WASD game, I am charging the whole time. So what happens is when I was charging, if I went to attack, you're moving. You're already moving. And so the attacks would never happen. So what I had to do is I had to put in that flag so that if you continue to hold the button and that flag is there, it knows that you haven't let go yet. And then if you let go of the input key, it resets that flag so that if you press it again, it will continue to move. And that was what allowed me to be able to do this, where I'm charging forward, I swipe, and then I let go and I go left. So now I can go right, left, and these are all the combos. Now the one thing is, and see, I couldn't move there because I was holding the D key. But anyways, by adding in that state so that the character knew what state it's in, I'm able to basically move, attack now, which is cool. And what we're doing is we're just adding in the dash. So our dash forward does not have this. So if we go back and we look at our roll and we turn that on, and this is gonna look so bad, but it's okay. Enable root motion. Let's see if this works. How are you doing tonight, Antius? I think you're up late, aren't you? Okay, so to check, if we press B, yep, it rolls. Okay, I told you it was gonna look weird, but it doesn't matter because it works. All right, so our ability works. Now there's a couple things that we need to adjust. First off, that's not an evade, that is a teleport. That is far too far. And that is because it is using the dash move curve, which we can fix if I can remember where to do that. Gameplay ability hero fade. Okay, not fade, evade. Apply root motion. Velocity is additive. Where's that curve? Here's our montage. Strength over time, clamp velocity. I thought there was a curve that controlled our root motion. We need to find it, y'all. That's what we're looking for. This is our montage. Here's a root motion duration. going to be an all-nighter for you. So Antis is saying they've got an all-nighter in VO heaven. Already got 2 Gladiator voice records delivered, halfway through editing the first one. Super lucky and excited to get a chance to work with all these people. Serious time. Yeah, look, I'm not gonna lie. I had a lot of fun for one of my projects when I did VO stuff. It's a lot of fun to do that stuff. I'm very excited for you all. All right, we are missing somewhere. I thought that there would be a curve. Is it in here? Nope. Also, our evade is using our dash widgets. I think we want to get rid of these so we're not stomping what's already there. So that's one thing for sure. And then in our dash, apply root motion constant force. Oh, I don't think that's what we want to do. Oh, it's not using a curve. $42 gladiators. You're launching with 42 gladiators? Oh, I'm sorry, 50. What? I mean, why not, right? That's so amazing. Jeez Louise. I'm thinking 12. Maybe. My goodness. 50 gladiators. Okay. All right, well that explains why. I thought this used a curve. So to do that, what we can do is we can change our root motion duration and strength. We can knock down our strength. Let's cut it in half and see if that changes how far we go in that roll. And then I feel like we should use a curve instead, but we'll take a look. And that is, okay, so the animation. Okay, there's two things that are happening. The animation speed is not fast enough for the montage. So can we change that? We can definitely change it. We just need to find where to change it. So what's happening is our montage is still playing even though, let's change our blend times to 0.05 and our rate scale, like this is a 30-second animation, so let's go to 3. Okay, and then let's see if that feels better. Yep, that's better. Okay, so interesting. It looks weird, but that's okay. It is technically an evade. Okay, I'm fine with that. It's funky. It's funky. Medgard, I have a question about animation state machines. I see you using Montage, but I found that working with Montage can be restrictive. Yes. I'm trying to create a combo system. Oh my goodness. That's literally what we're doing right here, Medgard. Trying to create a combo system. So I need to understand a little bit about your backbone to get it. Are you using the gameplay ability system, or are you trying to create a combo system independent of that? One of the, yeah, and actually as far as tips go, I actually asked this same question of one of my teammates at work. One of the most talented technical animators I know. The individual is not technical just insanely creative, talented, one of the fastest animators I've ever met, who happens to also be insanely tech savvy. Okay, so you're not using the gameplay ability system. So his advice to me would be perfect for you. I'm trying to remember what it was called. Hold on, what was the package he told me to get? He told me that there was a pack that he bought in the marketplace that he said he learned more from, wait, did I just crash? He learned more from this pack than he had from anything prior. And here we go. Not there. Come on, why is this so slow? I just want to remember the name of it. I actually have it, and I'm happy to kind of go through it. We don't actually have time tonight to do that, but let's see here. This is Marketplace. What am I looking for? I would thought it. Wars, ALS. That's the Advanced Locomotion System. Visual Scripting. Here we go. The Ability System, Advanced AI. It was something like Ultimate something. Hold on. Video game. Procedural biomes. But the reason I'm pointing that out, or the reason I'm mentioning that, is that one implemented abilities through Blueprint. It was all done in Blueprint. And it was a cool way to look at it. Advanced. All right, let's just go back. So my tip would be, yes, grab that, work through that, or what we can do is maybe in one of our next streams, we can kind of dig through it together. And I think it was Advanced Combat System. Maybe that's it, the flexible, but I feel like the word advanced or what, insane or something was in there. No, I don't remember it being the flexible combat system. Let me look at this. Maybe this was it. Did you look through this one already? I swore I bought one of these. Divide at work? Is that why I don't see it? Flexible Combat System Bundle. I'll have to find it. Actually, you know what? Let me see. Let me check his. I may have his message here on my phone. Let me just double check. But we can totally go through it together in an upcoming stream if that would be useful. But if you have already tried that one and it doesn't have what you want and you have specific questions, we can try to dig through it that way too. Abilities and MVPs. Okay. I actually don't. I think he told it to me verbally. So I'll have to ask him again what the name of it to make sure it was the same one. I've watched some of their tutorials, but they made things private after people started to copy their mechanics from the videos. I'm trying to go as pure as possible in terms of assets, trying to create as much on my own as possible. Don't want to fall on the slippery slide of buying assets. Yeah, that's fair. I totally understand that. And I'm actually not mentioning, I'm not mentioning those assets so that you can buy them, so much as buy them to learn from them because they were like 15 bucks. But I'm pretty sure, where's my purchase history in here? Shopping cart? Dynamic combat system, that's the one. Maybe I didn't actually buy it. But before I do, and I'm happy to buy it and we can go through it together. I believe this was easy modifiable, entirely in blueprints. That was the key to this one. All right, and so the point for me to buy this is not for me to use this system, but much in the same as you are doing, is simply to get that to learn from it. That's the whole goal of that. But I'm actually happy to buy that one, and we can kind of dig through it together in an upcoming stream if that's something that you all think would be cool. I also want to go through my receipts too, because I swore I bought one of these. So which Medgard, which streams are good for you? Wednesday mornings or Sunday nights? Because what I can do is I can try to get that set up for the next stream. Okay, so we got our role working. It's pretty cool. I think we need a sideways roll. We definitely need a sideways roll and a backward one too, but for now this is cool. For now this is fine. Okay, so now the next step, what we want to try to do is we want to try to connect this rather than on a hotkey. What we want to try to do is we want to try to connect this into our sword combo. How in the heck are we going to do that? What we're going to do is, let's think about this. So this is going to commit the ability and wait, and then we're going to play the montage, and then we're going to wait for the gameplay event. Ah, I think I know what we want to do. Right here, this is where our logic was. STEM Labs, you were asking where I did this. This is what I'm doing in here. This is where I'm resetting our movement triggers so that they are it sets that move state. Okay, and basically what we're doing here is if the movement reset needed, if that's not true, then we'll call the input movement. Okay, if the movement reset is needed, we're gonna set this as, oh my goodness, this is another state thing. You're in Europe, so I'd be a time thing rather than a day or date thing. Okay, so 8 a.m. No, dude, Medgard is totally cool. So Medgard's saying it would be great to go through that and take a look at it. I'm happy to stumble through that together. It's something that I meant to try to take a look at, to learn a little bit from. The goal here is not to copy their work. The goal here would be to learn from it, because I also want to respect their stuff as well. So that's, I don't want to get it and then just go through all of it. We're not going to, pick it apart piece by piece by piece. The goal will be to get a general broad understanding of what it is they're doing, so that we can be respectful to all the hard work they've done to put that stuff in the store as well. Just as a general heads up. Okay, well, you're in Europe, so let's see what's the time difference. Hold on, let me check the time in Europe. So right now it's 8:30 in the morning. So if we do a stream at 8 a.m., which is technically 8 hours from now, that'd be 16:30. That'd be like 6 or 5 o'clock at night. That's not too bad for you. Okay, so Wednesday morning stream is an 8 a.m. stream Pacific time. And we can kind of, I can see if I can get that set up. If not Wednesday morning, my one caveat to that is I'm supposed to be getting some new hardware. So I may stick with the old stuff and we may do it the Sunday stream, but I will try to post or right away so you don't waste your time hanging out, if that's the case. Cool. As far as how we're going to connect this in. My mind hurts trying to figure that out right now, I'm not gonna lie. So if it's triggered and a movement reset is not needed, really what we want to do is when oh, I know what we want to do. Here we go. Hold on, this isn't where we want to do it. I think we want to do it in our sword combo. We call if the pawn moves outside the window, cancel. That's not really what we want this to do. This is going to unbind all the events, stop the animation montage, and do that. So here's what we're going to do. Antius, I figured out your Twitch category. Oh, thank you, man. You are technically in a games category, a dev sim. You want to be in software and game development. Then people will see you on Twitch. Thank you so much for letting me know about that. I will do that after this stream. So if we wanted to, let's just try something crazy here. What we're gonna try is we're going to stop the animation montage. If we stop the animation montage, okay, here's what we need to know. We need to know, is stopping the animation montage, completing it, blending out, interrupting, or canceling? Back to the good old print strings. Print string. Okay, so let's make a bunch of these. Duplicate this a couple times. And the reason is we need to know if this montage is interrupting, canceling, or what. Because what we're going to do is we're going to put our evade in between. Let's connect all these in. And rather than printing hello, let's just do 1, 2, 3, 4. And now when we play, if we're running forward and we hit this, that's 3. 3. 3. Okay, so it looks pretty consistently to be 3. And 3 is interrupted. Very cool. Okay, so let's get rid of all of these and we'll reconnect to here. But if we're interrupted, what we'll do is we're going to activate ability. Can we do this? And the ability we want to activate is... Okay, so that doesn't work. Wait for gameplay event. What were we doing over here? Try activate abilities by tag. Let's try that. Let's activate abilities. Do we have the ability? What do we have in this gameplay? We have get the controller actor info, hero shooter mannequin. Activate. Nope. Let's cast this to a hero shooter mannequin and see if we can activate from there. Why can't I activate abilities from here? Okay, let's get the ability system. Get the ability system component and let's try to activate from there. Try activate abilities by tag. Wow, that seems crazy that we have to do that. Okay. Well, let's do it. We'll do it that way just to test it out and we'll see if there's a better way in the future. So we're going to take the control pawn and we're going to plug this into our cast. So if we're interrupted and it's a hero shooter mannequin, we're going to try to activate abilities with tag. And the activated abilities that we're going to try, we'll do in a second. If we fail, we're still going to end the ability so we don't get stuck here. And then after we finish, we'll end this ability. Interesting. We may need to do this after the fact. Okay. I think we do need to do this after the fact. All right, because what's going to happen is it's going to come in here, it's going to get interrupted. This ability will not be done yet. And because this ability is not done yet, it may be blocking other abilities. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new variable. And the variable is going to be evade activated, for example. And we'll kind of default that to false, which it is. It's not happy about that right now. And we're going to change this. We're going to come in here. If we're interrupted, we're still going to end the ability. But now, if this is true at the end of it, if our activation is true, then we're going to go ahead and we're going to cast this. Let's clean this up and make this a little bit easier. Oh, actually, we don't need to cast it. We can just get the ability from that. We don't even need the cast. We can just come straight into try to activate abilities by tag. So that should work. And evade activated, we want to set to true. If we're interrupted, just to test. We're probably gonna have to be a lot smarter about this. And then let's make a gameplay tag container. And the tag that we want is roll. What? Make a gameplay tag. Maybe that's not what we want. What do we want here? Make literal gameplay tag container. That's what we want. So let's make a literal gameplay tag container. And in here, let's do a roll. It doesn't have it. Why doesn't it have it? Ability. What? Oh, that's because it's not called roll. It's called evade. Somebody help me out here. What were we doing? We were in our sword combo. We need this to be evade. Okay, ability type action evade. Let's do this. Oh man, if this works, it's gonna be a miracle. It compiled, that's something. Let's save everything just in case. Check out everything. And then let's play. Now, if this works, what's going to happen is when I swing and move, after it finishes, it should evade. Didn't work. Didn't work. So either our ability is not being activated or we're not interrupting. So let's see. Let's put a evade activated. Are we actually even trying this? Print string evade. This is one of those nights where I'm supposed to be going to sleep. Okay, it's evading. It's totally evading. But the problem is it's not actually activating. Try activate abilities by tag. Okay, why isn't evade activating? Ability type action evade. Activation owned tag. Ability type action evade. Ability type action evade. Interesting. Why can't we? Why doesn't that work? Okay, let's try something else. I just want to see something. That's the ability system component. This is the ability system component. Same thing. Makes a literal, allows remote activation. Interesting. Let's just put everything evade in here and see what happens. I know why. Huh. Okay. I think I know what's happening. Let me show you what I think is happening. First, let's put a string in here and see if we're actually execute. We'll just call this execute. If this is what it is, then I think I know what the problem is. And we will probably wrap this up if we see the words execute. Nope, don't see the words execute. So that's not what it is. So it's not actually activating this ability. Even though the abilities tags are ability type action evade. This ability is ended, then we're evading, and then we're trying to activate this. I'm going to switch this order. I want to see if we still get the evade printed. This is one of those things that's going to drive me nuts. Yeah, it's still printing. Yep. This is the gameplay ability system. Get the ability system component. And the actor info. Get controller from actor info. Get the ability system component from actor info. Let's try that one instead. And with that, we are going to try to activate the ability. We never see it execute. I'm not sure why we don't see it execute. We know it works because if I press the V key, it totally works. So we need to figure out, okay. Unfortunately, I have to call it for tonight because I cannot be a complete wreck for the day job tomorrow. So what we're going to do is we're going to wrap this up. Let's do a quick wrap up. Okay. Overall, not too bad. A couple things that we're going to basically summarize where we're at right now with the working prototype. I need to figure out how to activate an ability inside of another ability. I don't know if I've ever actually done that before, so it's something that's worth looking at. Everybody who hopped in, Weston's, Medgar, STEM Labs, Antius, all, everybody. I'm sorry about the camera stuff. This is why we're getting a new camera. This is why we're getting new hardware. Thanks for hopping in. As always, anybody who's watching the stream afterwards, if you have questions, throw those in the comments or feel free to hop in the next stream. Right now, those are Wednesday mornings at 8 a.m., Sunday nights at 10:15 p.m. That's Pacific Standard Time. I am also, it sounds like we're going to be doing a quick chat over a blueprint implementation of an ability system, and we're going to take a look at one of the projects that is available as a potential training option from the Unreal Store. So We'll be doing that either Wednesday morning or Sunday night, pending hardware issues, as you can see. Antius, thanks again for helping me out with category stuff. It's always good to see you. Anybody else who was hanging out in the wings, I hope you have an awesome start to your week. My name's Kevin. We're doing this twice a week. I will catch you in the next one. Have a good one.